There we go. How's that? All right. We're still 5 minutes early, so I don't know. Am I allowed to? I'm not really allowed to start until they shoot the gun.
So do I call you?
Did you ever see the Monty Python sketch on the race for the individuals that have a poor sense of direction?
Start school.
And they, they're all lined up and they shoot the gun and everybody goes all, It's really good stuff. Oh, well. Another angel got his wings. That's from It's a Wonderful Life. Jimmy Stewart.
Yeah, that.
Actually, I've got all these. I don't have to do them. So the first thing I want to start with is the last quiz question. Because I want to take the idea of model-dependent realism. Did everybody get a chance to look up what model-dependent realism was? Did I give you a link to that or not? Let me do that. How do I get rid of that? Just skip it. Okay. So the quiz question I had asked was, does the Earth go around the Sun or does the Sun go around the Earth? That could have been funny, right? Everybody, we even voted on that, and one person noticed that I voted for both and said, how could that be? So model depend. Yes, Brandon, did you have? No. Okay. I thought I saw. But
I was, but it's not out of place.
you can ask it.
They both go around each other.
Yes. And not. Those are two models, right? And so each of those models, the Earth goes around the Sun. That's one model. Then there's the Sun, of course, going around the Earth, which was what people used to think. And this model here, the Tychonic model. So if you want to keep this Earth-centered model, but you have to account for Galileo's experiment, which proved that other planets do not go around the Earth, right? So you have to fix your model. The model has to coincide with your data and so on. And the Earth-centered model certainly doesn't go along with the idea of mass. So if you think, well, how could the Sun, which is so significantly larger, travel, around the Earth? Well, obviously, you're not going to use mass as part of your model if you're going to do that. But the significant experiment, Galileo, so these are various copies of Galileo's hand drawing of Venus as he looked at it through his telescope. And what that proved was that the planet Venus, I guess they assumed the other planets as well, couldn't be going around the Earth because of the phases of the planet. And so what that meant was that the planets were going around the Sun. The moon goes, it's kind of fun because we think of the moon as going around the Earth. Everybody agrees the moon goes around the Earth? well, darn astronomers come to the, to screw everybody up and tell us, no, actually the moon goes around the sun. It just so happens that it's so close to the earth that as it's going around the sun, the moon and the earth are going like this, so that basically from here, it looks like the moon is going around the earth.
Well, if you want to get technical, everything goes around Sagittarius A star. So.
Well, that's still another model, because when you say, well, wait a minute, we have well, let me go to my content. Let me go to course content. I think I had this under the first set of class notes. As I'm looking at this, did anybody look at the Beverly Hills Chihuahua link? I know it's silly, but I think it's the scariest movie people have ever made. Beverly Hills Chihuahua. Did you ever see it? Yeah.
Why do you think it's scary?
Well, it follows the monomyth, and one of the main stories we think of that follows the monomyth is Jesus, right? And so if the kids grow up and they watch Beverly Hills Chihuahua and they see what Chloe goes through, she fights Diablo, which is devil in Spanish, right? And so on. Kids will grow up and recognize, hey, Jesus is Chloe. Okay, maybe that's not scary, but that's okay. Sorry.
I don't want to watch.
But that's the monomyth. I got all kinds of crazy things here that we didn't necessarily. Okay, so I think this is okay. So this is a kind of a goofy video of this, but it basically gives you the correct, I think, another impression. So if you think about the planets, since the sun is moving and the planets are going along, obviously it's the whole system is going along, so there's not just the planets but everything else. And they're still finding new things, of course. Just I think last week they announced that they discovered another moon around Uranus. No Snickers, please. But so there's 29 moons now, I guess, around Uranus. But as you're imagining everything all moving along, the idea that a planet is going around the sun or the sun going around the Earth, neither of that could be true in this model because everything is moving. So actually and this is way too fast. And I think actually if you were to draw it, there's lots of different ways of drawing it. There's some programs on there that let you play with it and so on. It looks more like a DNA molecule or something, right? So that gets into some goofy things that this video will talk about if you click on it. All kinds of other relationships to things that are structured that same way. But so that's another model, right? And here's the point of model-dependent realism. You use those models, and virtually everything we do, we construct a model, a cognitive model, or a worldview, or whatever you want to call it, and we think of things as being correct in that model. And we need that in order to have a conception of reality. But at the same time, there are multiple models. In fact, we use multiple models for other things because we still have an awful lot of aspects of the Earth-centered model that we still use. I think, you know, Earth is, you know, the sun is rising, sun is setting, you know, all that kind of stuff. We also talk about the other models. We use them. Today I'm going to talk about the model of idealism that Plato gives us, right? As a model, right? So it's not like I'm going to try to argue Plato was right. It's an interesting model, right? And we've got successive models that we also use. But the point of it is that if you think of models as a tool that we can use for a particular perspective or a particular object, just like a hammer, right? You know, you use a hammer to hang, you know, to put in nails and stuff, or knock down things. You could probably even use it to smack an enemy or something. But, you know, I mean, you wouldn't use it to try to put in a screw. That wouldn't work, right? You need a screwdriver for a screw, and so on. And there are right hammers for the job, too. If you're trying to hammer a little nail, and you have a huge mallet, that would certainly be wrong, right? You need is a smaller hammer for a smaller nail, right? So you want to have the right tool for the job. And we have lots of them, you know. In fact, one way of thinking of man is man the tool maker, right? Make tools. And AI, by the way, is a new tool that we're using, that we just started with. What other models are there? There's the Einstein space-time cone. I don't know if I have that up there. Actually, I'm pretty sure I do. Let me go see where. Here it is. I did have. Oops, what am I in here? I didn't want that one. Darn. There it is. So this is the way that's usually drawn. So the idea, of course, is the observer, which is you. You're the observer in the universe. You're at this point. And if you think of the future is this way, the past is this way, it's always here, right? You know, from every moment. And so basically that's limited by the speed of light. You know, there's nothing outside of the speed of light can interfere with you, at least by Einstein's model, right? By the way, there's other folks today that would talk about quantum and talk about entanglement and things that are actually faster than the speed of light. So there might be other things. In fact, when you think about your 20th birthday. Did everybody here have a 20th birthday? You did? Yes. Did you have cake on your 20th birthday?
Not one of the days like
So, but you remember it. You remember that particular cake, etc. They would argue, and I think it's a really cool way of understanding it, is that you actually just traveled through time in your mind to that memory, when that memory occurred. And that's how you were able to pull up a memory. All of our memories. You're actually capable of experiencing the past that your mind experienced by connecting to your mind at that moment. Is that weird or what? You're folding time. Yeah. Without having to use the spice. So that's Dune. Are you raising your hand? No. Okay. I saw your hand up like most of the way, and so I thought.
But sometimes people remember a certain event like differently or incorrectly.
Entree, are you part of the class or?
Yeah.
There's 2 seats way over here, the hardest seats to get to. And there's one there, actually. So, yeah, sometimes we misremember things. And we can even be trained to misremember things. So is that a problem for that theory or what? I don't know.
I'd say so.
Yeah, I think it would be something you'd have to solve. If we're thinking that the past only occurred in one way. Roger Penrose, who I think is really impressive, just because he has so many letters after his name and stuff. Roger Penrose, let me show you who Roger Penrose is.